Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello everybody. This is our 7th lecture for the course Introduction to Linguistics that will deal with morphology, as we will talk about morphology and different parts of related to morphology. We'll speak about morphemes, free and bound morphemes, lexical and functional morphemes, derivational and inflectional morphemes, morphological description, problems in from morphological description, and morphs and allomorphs. So what is morphology? Okay, so just before we explain the word morphology, let's make this short introduction. Most of the people look at the language as a group of words, okay, and what we think as smallest unit in our language as a word, okay, we take one word as one item. In many languages, what appear to be single forms actually turn out to contain a large number of word-like elements. And in this case, I changed the example in your textbook, okay, which this talks about Swahili language, okay. I have changed this example by an Arabic one to make it closer to your minds. For example, when we hear this in Arabic, سأنقذك, okay, so at first we have just one word, okay, but if we look closer to this word, or what seems to be a word in Arabic, okay, in English we will find I will rescue you. So that what appears as a one word for the hearer, okay, is in fact a group of many elements, okay, and it is represented in English language by a whole sentence: I will rescue you. So now the question is the Arabic form a single word? If it is a word, then it seems to consist of a number of elements, which in English turn up as separate words. A rough correspondence can be presented in the following way. So the word sa is will, I, naqada, okay, save, ka, you. So if we made them in the appropriate way, so we will have, well, I wrote it on purpose from left to right, okay. So سأنقذك, it will become will I save you, but it's not in the interrogative form, it is the affirmative form, I will save you. So the type of exercise we have just performed is an example of investigating basic forms in language, generally known as morphology. So the activity we have been making is the essence of morphology. Morphology, yeah, deals with, okay, the study of forms. We took a form, one word in Arabic language, okay, and we studied it, and we found out that that word consists of more than one element. And mainly when we tried to convey the meaning in English, it became clear that that word is in fact more than one element. It's a group which consists of more than one element. Well, the term morphology then, to recapitulate, the term morphology, which literally means the study of forms, was originally used in biology. So the term, as a term, okay, as a word, the word morphology, or the term morphology, at the beginning was used in biology. But since the middle of the 19th century, and with the development of language studies, okay, has also been used to describe the type of investigation that analyzes all those basic elements used in a language. So, the morphology of a language, okay, is the study of different elements that form that language. What we have been describing as elements in the form of a linguistic message are technically known as morphemes. So, what are morphemes? So, morphemes are all the elements that consisted the example we were talking about. Sa, a, naqada, okay, ka. So these are morphemes. The comparison we made between the Arabic utterance and سأنقذك and the English equivalent I will rescue you made it clear that there are elements in what may seem only one entity, one block, but that block has many parts in it. But we still can recognize that English word forms such as talks, talker, talked, and talking must consist of one element, that is talk, and a number of other elements such as the S, okay, that S, okay, ER, that's of talker, ED, that's of talked, and the ing form of talking. All these elements are described as morphemes. So the definition of a morpheme is it is the minimal unit, the smallest unit of meaning or grammatical function. So any element that we pronounce and has a meaning, or it has a function, a role, grammatical function. Units of grammatical function include forms used to indicate past tense, plural tense. For example, the word reopened, okay, consists of 3 morphemes. One minimal unit of meaning is open. So that's the original, let's say the original word. As we said in Arabic, the original part of سأنقذك is naqada, okay? Or the words we studied with alima, okay? So that's the meaning. The minimal unit of meaning, that's in this example reopened is open. Another minimal unit of meaning is re, okay? Because the prefix re means to do something again, okay? So it has a meaning. So we have a minimal unit of meaning, open, a minimal unit of meaning, another minimal unit of meaning, which is re, and a minimal unit of grammatical function, which is the ed, and it is the indication for the past tense. Another example, the word tourists, so contains as well 3 morphemes. What are these morphemes? We have a minimal unit of meaning, which is the verb tour, okay? Another minimal unit of meaning, which is ist, and it marks the person who does something. Ist is like er, okay? Teacher, teach, teacher. Er is a marking of a person who does something. And a minimal unit of grammatical function, which is the S, indicating the plural. So we have 2 wrists. Free and bound morphemes. So we have through the examples we have studied in the previous slides, okay, we can see that there are different types of morphemes, okay. and the distinction, to make the distinction between two types of morphemes, there are free morphemes, okay, that's free morphemes, and the free morphemes are the morphemes that can stand by themselves as a single words. For example, open and tour. So if I say open, so people can understand the meaning of what I am saying, of the word I am saying, okay, or the morpheme I am saying. Tour, the same thing, but there are what is called bound morphemes, and these morphemes, okay, cannot normally stand alone. And that means they do not convey any meaning, okay? Any meaning if I pronounce them by themselves. Are typically attached to another form exemplified as re, ist, ed, es. Going back to the Arabic example, okay? سأنقذك, taking it as a morpheme that consists of multiple elements. So the original word is naqada, okay, sa, okay, a. So naqada, if I say this word naqada, all people that understand Arabic will understand what I am saying. But if I say sa, u, ka, these they are morphemes, but they cannot be used by themselves. They do not have any meaning when they are separated from the word naqada, okay? So from the examples as well, we understand that affixes, that's for English language, and infixes for other languages, okay? All affixes, okay, prefixes, suffixes, and infixes. In English, that we don't have infixes, but prefixes and suffixes in English are bound morphemes. The free morphemes can generally be identified as the set of separate English words from forms, such as the basic nouns, the adjectives, the verbs, etc. When they are used with bound morphemes attached, the basic word form, are technically known as stems. So the original part of that morpheme, okay, is called stem. For example, undressed. So if you look at this example, undressed. So as you can see, the original word part of this is the word dress, okay, and that's identified as so the free morpheme, okay, so identified as free morpheme, and it is called the stem. What comes before, okay, is a bound morpheme, and what comes after, it is a bound morpheme. So a prefix, the prefixes are bound morphemes, the suffixes are bound morphemes. Another example, the carelessness. It is a noun, but the original part of this word is care, and that's the stem. It is a free morpheme. The other two parts are bound morphemes, as they are two suffixes. In words such as receive, reduce, repeat, we can identify the bound morpheme r, okay, the prefix r at the beginning of a word. But the elements sieve, deuce, peat, if we omit this prefix re, okay, so we will have sieve, deuce, and peat, the rest of the words, okay. These what is left, the elements which are left, sieve, deuce, peat, So if you say them in English, okay, to any native speaker, he will not understand anything. So after removing the prefix re, these remaining elements do not have a meaning. So that's why we cannot consider them as free morphemes. Sieve, dew, speed are not separate word forms and hence cannot be free morphemes. These types of forms are sometimes described as bound stems. They are the stem, but a stem without meaning, okay? That's why we call it bound stem, as an analogy with bound morpheme. A bound morpheme is a morpheme that does not have a meaning by itself. So a stem normally has a meaning, but if a stem does not have a meaning, so it is called a bound stem. To keep them distinct from, to differentiate them from free stems, okay, such as dress and care. Lexical and functional morphemes. There are two types of free morphemes. The first is that set of ordinary nouns, adjectives, verbs, etc. that we think of as the words that carry the content of the message we convey. These free morphemes are called lexical morphemes. Most of the lexical morphemes are nouns, verbs, adjectives, and they usually convey a meaning. The second type of morphemes are the second type of morpheme is what is called functional morphemes. For example, examples are and, but, when, because, on, near, above, in, the, that, in, them, etc. So these are functional morphemes. This set consists largely of the functional words in the language, such as conjunctions, prepositions, articles, pronouns, because we almost never, add new functional morphemes to the language. They are described as closed class words. Closed class words, why? Because we cannot add parts to them. So we cannot add prefixes to them or change them. They are the same everywhere. Use it. Derivational and inflectional morphemes. The set of affixes that make up the category of bound morphemes can also be divided into two types. One type we have already considered in chapter 6 when we looked at the derivation of words. These are the derivational morphemes. We use these bound morphemes to make new words or to make words of a different grammatical category from the stem. For example, the addition of the derivational morpheme ness changes the adjective good to the noun goodness, and the addition of the prefix re changes the meaning of the word pay when added to it, so it becomes repay. The second set of bound morphemes contains what are called inflectional morphemes. These are, but rather to indicate these are not used to produce new words in the language, but rather to indicate aspects of the grammatical function of a word. Inflectional morphemes are used to show if a word is plural or singular, in the past tense or the present tense or any other tense, if it is a comparative or possessive form. In order to understand this better, let's say that English has only 8 inflectional morphemes or inflections that can be illustrated as you can see on your slides. The noun, we can add an apostrophe s to a noun, or we can add an s to the noun. So if we add an apostrophe s to the noun, we will get teacher's book. The teacher's book. So that apostrophe s shows possession, while the second s in the example, teachers, okay, it gives the plural of the word teacher, of the noun teacher. A verb, okay, we can add to a verb s, ing, it, in. So these addings, okay, each adding makes a difference. If we add an s to the verb teach, so we'll have teachers, and that's the present tense. Teaching, that's the present participle form. Played, that's the past tense, and taken, for example, that's the past participle. So we have present participle form, past participle form. So each adding shows a form. Adjective, we can add est or er to the adjective. So we have younger, youngest. Younger and youngest are still adjectives. They do not change in form. Morphological description. The difference between derivational and inflectional morphemes is worth emphasizing. So we need to understand better the difference between derivational and inflectional morpheme. An inflectional morpheme, so just to explain, an inflectional morpheme never changes the grammatical category of a word. So whatever you add, okay, to a word, the word will never change. Okay, so if we look at the earlier examples, okay, so teachers, as you can see the apostrophe s here, does this adding, or does this s, apostrophe s, okay, added to the word teacher, change, okay, the meaning or the category, sorry, of the word teacher? No. Teacher is still teacher. Teachers, it doesn't change the meaning, it changes only from the singular to a plural, but the meaning is the same. The same thing with all these addings. The verb is still a verb and it conveys the same meaning. The adjective is still an adjective and it conveys the same meaning. Okay? So that's what is meant by an inflectional morpheme never changes the grammatical category of a word. For example, both old and older are adjectives. However, a derivational morpheme can change the grammatical category of a word. The verb teach becomes the noun teacher. So if we add er, so we will move from a verb to a noun, and that one is called derivational morpheme. So the er in teacher, okay, is a derivational morpheme because the grammatical category of the word changed from noun, from verb to noun. So if we use any other prefix or suffix, okay, and that prefix or suffix change the category, in that case you call that suffix or prefix or suffix derivational morpheme. So the suffix er in modern English can be an inflection morpheme as part of an adjective, okay, and also a distinct derivational morpheme as a part of a noun. Just because they look the same, er, doesn't mean they do the same kind of work. So in order to understand this, let's go back to our examples. So we added er